What is going on, guys? My name is AK back again with another YouTube video. Now, I had a request to show the classes that I use for competitive Call of Duty, so I thought what a good thing to do in today's video would be to show the 5 classes that I always have loading into a game of competitive Call of Duty. Now, do bear in mind, I am a main AR, so the majority of the classes are AR classes, but I do have a subclass thrown in there, which is the one I believe all of the pros use as well. So hopefully you're going to find today's video really interesting. If you do, be sure to drop a like. And let's get straight into it. So here we are on Call of Duty. We're in custom games. This is where I keep my classes. Now we're going to do this on keyboard and mouse just because it's a little bit quicker, but I do play it on controller. So we have 5 classes, as you can see here. We have 4 Krig classes and 1 AK-74U. We're going to start with the Krig classes because they're the ones that I mainly use. I'm a main AR. And the general sort of setup for the Krig class is very similar across the board, other than the optic, which is what we'll get into. But other than that, the muzzle is the infantry compensator. That is the one that pretty much every AR player uses. It's the best for long range. Then we have the 19.7-inch Ranger barrel. Again, the most common, gives you that good bullet velocity. And there was even a sort of a buff for this a couple months ago now that made this even stronger. So definitely this is the one that you're going to want on your barrel. For the grip, we have the Field Agent grip. Again, very standard. It's the one that everybody uses. And then the 40-round mag, again, quite standard. Good for that extra ammo. I think a lot better than the 30-round mag. We'll get into a little bit about that in the last class when we talk about that. But yeah, that's quite a good one to have. Especially helps in those longer range gunfights. The airborne elastic wrap, again, very standard. Allows you to drop shot, which I do use quite a lot. If you guys have seen that, you've got that aim while going prone benefit there. So the airborne elastic wrap is a very strong one to have on there. And lastly, the Raider stock, very powerful one. There is the no stock that sort of doesn't have as much of a detriment to hipfire accuracy, but let's be honest, you're probably not going to be hipfiring very much with a Krig, so really the Raider stock is the best there with a good sprint to fire time and aim walk move speed. Now, as for the secondary, this is the class or the Diamatti setup that I actually use on every class, so I'll only go through this once. But what we're going to be rocking is we're rocking the normal Diamatti with the infantry compensator. Is the best barrel there. The muzzle brake does work as well, but generally the infantry compensator is the better one. The chrome lined barrel for, again, good bullet velocity, helps with those long range engagements. The 24-round mag, just for a little bit. If you're trying to take on a whole team with a Diamatti, you know, might come in handy. And lastly, the airborne elastic wrap. Now, there are quite a few people that I know that like to throw the Microflex LED on top of it just to get a sight on it, and that is something that I can actually get behind. I do that sometimes. Don't actually have it normally on this class, but if you want to throw it on there, it's quite useful as well. And the rest of the class is pretty standard. We have Flashbang Semtex trophy system, which is the generic loadout for literally any respawn player. You know, you've got that trophy system. You really, I think at the moment, the GA only says you can have 3 trophy systems per team and a team of 4. The other player will normally run an assault pack and just not use it. But definitely make sure you've got the trophy system on. A lot of people don't follow the 3 trophy GA, especially at the lower levels of competitive Call of Duty. So throw one on and make sure you're using it. Then for the perks, we are starting with Tac Mask because I hate being stunned. Like, a nade, you can move and survive. A stun, you're out of the game, basically. So, I generally run Tac Mask on the majority of my classes. I do have a Krig class nearly identical to this one here, actually with a flak jacket on. We'll get into that in a little bit. So for the majority of my classes, I run Tac Mask, and then Scavenger and Ninja as really the 2 only other viable options. Ninja you're definitely going to want for that slow or that quiet move speed, or that quiet movement, in fact. And then just Scavenger, again, pretty generic. I don't think... although these aren't necessarily banned out, I think Assassin, Quartermaster, Gearhead are all GA'd, so I think Scavenger is the only perk 2 that you can use. So that's about it for my first Krig class. Now we have a very similar Krig class, all the same, except we have the mill-stop reflex, the higher zoom. I think is 1.37% zoom, so you get a little bit of zoom on this. Now, generally, I am more of a Microflex LED kind of player. I like this one here. This is my main sight for the Krig, the one that I like to use the most. But there are some scenarios, namely Moscow, the majority of Moscow actually, like especially down the street. That's normally where I go off the start as a main. I try and get street control. You need this. If you're going to try beaming people out of the bus or any long-range gunfight, you're going to want the mill stop. And so I generally end up keeping this one on for the majority of any game mode played on Moscow. But other than that, the class is exactly identical. Same attachments, same for the Diamatti there, and same perks and tacticals, lethals, and things like that as well. So I did briefly mention, but I do also have a Krig class with, it's a mill stop Krig class, but it does have the flak jacket on as well. If I feel like they're not throwing stuns and the other team is very nade heavy, which you do get quite a lot of, then sometimes I'll throw this one on just to sort of counter that. Not too often, but I do have it sort of made nice and quickly, so I don't actually have to mess around with sort of changing things in the game. And I suppose I should mention that in the game, being that you can change the classes, if I feel like on Moscow I need a flak jacket, I will just change that one here. I don't have a dedicated class for that, because instead we have an AK-74U and a hybrid Krig that I'll get onto in a little bit. So starting with the AK-74U class, now the main attachments used there are the Spetsnaz Compensator, again quite similar to the, in fact in general this is quite similar to the Krig class, so you want that nice range that you get with that. Again, the muzzle brake can be used, but generally the Spetsnaz Compensator is considered the better of the two. And the extended barrel, again, bullet velocity. Bullet velocity is a very powerful sort of stat in Cold War, because it lets you kill people quicker, and especially at range can be very powerful on that one. Now the grip is the one that there is a little bit of choice in. The majority of the pros at the moment are using foregrip. Some do use the Spetsnaz grip and did use the speed grip. I generally used to use the Spetsnaz grip, although I have recently made the change to foregrip, being that I'm not a 74U player. I'm not going to go and make my own ideas of what I think works. I'll trust the people that use this gun day in, day out for what they think, and the majority do use foregrip at the moment, just because you don't get the negative movement speed and stuff like that comes with these two, and you just get the straight recoil control. So generally foregrip is considered the best at the moment. And then again, pretty standard. You've got the GRU elastic wrap and the KGB skeletal stock as your grip and stock there. Pretty standard stuff there. Again, tacticals, lethals, field upgrade, that is all exactly the same. You do run Lawbreaker on this class. You're only running 5 attachments, so you can throw Lawbreaker on, and you'll run Flakjack and Tac Mask so that you're immune to everything. And then again, Ninja as your perk 3, pretty essential stuff there. And that is pretty much it for the subclass. Pretty simple, should do the job very well. And lastly, I have a Krig hybrid, which is quite similar to the AK-74U class in that this is based around having flak jacket and tac mask. Only running 5 attachments on this one, and that we take off the muzzle for the long range gunfights. You can feel it. I think of all of the attachments, this is one of the less effective, so it's essentially one of the first that can go when you're cutting down to 5 attachments. And we also take off the 40 round mag, because the other attachments are just in general more useful than the 40 round mag there. So they're the two that you'll cut off, your muzzle and your magazine, and that way you can then have Lawbreaker and run a flak and tac mask class. Now, when would you use this? This is quite good off the start of S&D, off the start of Hardpoint, off the start of Control, anywhere where you're not going to have trophy systems, because when you've got a trophy system, you can start blocking stuff, and in general, then you sort of have to worry about less things blinding you and killing you. But when you don't have a trophy system to block anything, maybe considering a class with both of them on, just for the first couple of lives until you actually start to get your trophy systems, that can be quite helpful to actually have. So that's the sort of time when I might use this class. But that is about it for today's video. Really hope you guys found this one helpful. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.